All right. Hello again, photo folks. Here we are. We're back. It's the third month of our online tutorial, and today we're actually outdoors, and we're going to be doing some outdoor lighting photography. This one's on lighting, and we're going to be doing the most beautiful yet cheapest light source around, the sun. So we're in shade right now, and being in the shade is really good for taking pictures. It gives you a real nice soft light. It still is sunlight. It's bouncing off of everything else. It's ambient light, and it's coming in. It gives you a very soft, nice, beautiful light. It's going to be very flattering to your subject. It's going to make them look beautiful, and it's not going to have any harsh highlights and things like that. So it's a good idea when you're in the sun to not use direct sunlight, but to go ahead and be in the shade, or have the sun coming over their shoulders, which we're going to do a little later. But for now, we're dodging the wind, and we're dodging the direct sun, and we're going to be shooting on these steps in front of the library here. So here we go. There's a few things to keep in mind when you're shooting outside. One of them is that the sun is very bright, so just keep in mind that in order to get your settings right, you're going to want to be at probably 100, the lowest speed that you can have in your ISO, which for this camera is 100. And then, you're going to want your aperture open wide and your shutter speed to be, pretty fast. So just make sure that you have all your settings correct before you start shooting, or else you're going to have a bunch of blown out, horrible pictures, and you'll be sad. So get your picture, get your settings right first. Check your meter inside your camera. Make sure that everything's going to be right, and that when you shoot, you find a nice location. Where lines are fading away behind you, or you don't want anything to look like it's growing out of your client's head or your subject's head or something. You just want to make sure that there's nothing behind him that's very distracting. We're going to be shooting right here first, and this is our first stop. So enjoy. I've had many people ask me what kind of cameras I use, or what equipment I prefer. Today I'm actually using my awesome Canon XT, which is an older model. I just want to show people that the pictures that I'm taking today you can take with anything. This is an old model camera. I do prefer Canons. I normally shoot a 5D, but right now I'm shooting this just to show that you can take great pictures with the inexpensive equipment. This is our budget. This is our budget photography. I figure most of you are beginners, and beginners don't have fat pockets to buy their stuff, unless I guess you're fortunate and whatever. However, this is the lens I recommended, the 50mm. So that's what we're using today, 1.8. And then I'm using a camera body that anyone could probably pick up for about $250 to $300. It's a 4-year-old camera, so if you like the pictures that I'm getting today, you don't have to have the top-notch equipment. You got to know how to use your equipment. So I always say, not like anyone with paints could be Van Gogh, or Picasso or Salvatore Dali. You got to know what you're doing, and you can have the same tools, but it doesn't mean you can get the same stuff. So I believe any 3 of those painters could paint with the cheapest of equipment, and I could shoot some damn fine pictures with the cheapest of cameras, and so can you. So figure it out, and you don't need to go breaking the bank just to get some good shots. So that's why I brought this out. And like I said, I prefer Canon. There's also Nikon, which I've heard great things about. And those are the 2 brands that I usually recommend. If you have another brand and it works for you, great, stick with it. But people have asked me what I personally prefer, and I shoot Canon, and I also shoot Nikon for my film, so they both hold a special place in my heart. We're going to be shooting around this area here, and there's a few things to keep in mind when you're shooting and using the sunlight. Like I said earlier, first of all, is to not use direct sunlight. Also, there's a few things. Such as where you're going to be at, what's in your background, what's around. You just want, being on location, you want to make sure that everything looks cool, everything's going to be all right. Now behind me, where the sun is actually hitting could be blown out, so in your pictures that'll happen too. So what you want to do is, if you're shooting with the sunlight lighting your subject, your background that the sun's hitting is going to be good. If you're shooting with the sun behind your subject, you're just going to know that's going to be blown out. But if you want that look, then that's the look you can get. It doesn't matter, you do what you want to do, what makes you feel good, what the picture that you want to get. So don't worry too much about following any strict guidelines. Just know what results in what, and then choose what you like best and use that. One thing that you want to do is set your flash so that your flash is going to be lighting her from this side, the sun's going to be giving a nice halo from the other side, and you want your flash, even on a camera like this, you can go in here and check your flash exposure compensation, and then there you're going to decrease it, so you're going to be underneath what your flash, because your flash isn't lighting her, your flash is filling in this side of her. So the ambient light is again lighting, but you're just giving a nice little pop. So The flash also balances out the lighting of the picture so that the background isn't so blown out and overexposed. Another thing that you'd like to do is to cover up your lens from the sun so that you don't get a lot of flare in it, and it'll keep your contrast nice in your picture without getting a white overcast. If you do want to shoot with the sun lighting your subject from the front, feel free, do whatever you want to do. But just beware, there are a couple things that you need to be aware of. I believe that the sunlight is beautiful, but there's a couple traps that the sun will do. One of them is squinting. People squint a lot when they're facing the sun. You just got to be aware of it. And also another thing that you need to really be aware of is your own shadow. Because when you're taking a picture, a lot of times you don't realize that you're casting a shadow also, and your subject could be sitting right in your shadow, and the picture will come out with your big goofy shoulder in the picture or something like that. So, a good way to combat that is to step off to the side and have your subject look away from the sun, so they're not looking directly into the sun, but their face is facing towards the sun, but their eyes are going towards you. So then the sun's not blaring them in the eyes. They're looking good. They're feeling good, and they can relax and have a nice picture, a nice smile. But the highlights are still sharper, and the shadows are bold. And if that's the look you're going for, then take it, do it to it. But like I said, I prefer non-direct sunlight. But if the situation requires it and your picture requires it, then by all means take it by the horns and do it to it. So that's that. All right, and that is our first lighting lesson. In the next few months we'll talk about some studio lighting, different kinds of lighting, even different sun lighting, using natural reflectors around, different things like that. This is just a beginner course. So I just want to get you a little taste, a little flavor of what there is out there. And like I said, you don't need top-notch equipment to get very nice pictures. You could do it with, a 5-year-old camera and a $99 lens. So, don't feel like you have to spend all this dough to be a good photographer. Being a good photographer comes from, from being a good photographer. It comes from in your heart. It comes from in your soul. So, if that's what you want to do and that's what you have a passion for, and, put your passion into it, and you'll get, passionate, good-looking pictures, man. So, just get some good pictures, do your thing, and, until next month, I'll figure something else to do then. I'm not sure if it's going to be more lighting. It might be more technical jargon, so it just depends. So, write me, let me know what you think. Thanks to everyone who's been writing, and thanks to all my subscribers on my channel. And, everybody, keep in touch, and, let me know what you think. So, I'll see you around next month or so. So, bye.